What's going on, Minties? The Uncanny Omar here from Near Mint Condition, and today I'm going to take an advanced look at the Timely's Greatest, the Golden Age Human Torch by Carl Burgos. So please stay tuned. Now, before we get started, I'd like to give a quick shout out to David Gabriel and the fine folks at Marvel for sending us an advanced copy of this omnibus. And when the book comes out, you can purchase it from... This episode is sponsored by cheapgraphicnovels.com, your online home for brand new graphic novels and collected editions up to 50% off the cover price. Cheap Graphic Novels prides itself on packaging your books so they arrive safely and in excellent condition, as well as prompt and helpful service. And check out their bargain bin for even greater deals up to 90% off cover price. And for you Minties, Cheap Graphic Novels is running a special promotion. If you're a first-time customer, let them know you were referred by Near Mint Condition at the checkout, and you'll receive a credit for free shipping on your next order. Now, this is only for U.S. customers. Cheap Graphic Novels, your source for the hottest books with the kind of deep discounts, quality shipping, and customer service that will keep you coming back for more. The very first thing I want to do is compare it to the other books right here. Now, this book right here, Timely's Greatest, The Golden Age Human Torch, comes out on November 27th. That's at comic book stores and places like Cheap Graphic Novels. And then a couple weeks later at places like Amazon and Barnes & Noble. And can I just say how nice it is to have this all line up perfectly. Even the spines, it lines up perfectly. I know there's a big gap right here. I wish maybe Timely's Greatest was a little bit bigger, but it grew on me. I kind of like that. Gives it that classic magazine look to it. Then you have the characters down here. Of course, the Submariner has the pre-wars years because the post-war years is coming out sometime early next year. And much like these books, the book does retail for $150. Here's the back of it. And we've looked at the spine. However, this book is right at around 1,036 pages long. So it's a lot bigger than the other two. Now let's look at it without the dust jacket. It's very similar to the design of the Golden Age books that I've made videos for if you want to check those out. And let's crack it open. Okay, so let's take a look at it. It's orange. That's really nice. Carl Burgos. You have an image from it here. And let's look and give credit to those people behind the book. You have Corey Seldmeyer, Rodolfo Maraguchi, and Mark Beasley as the main restoration people, and then the art restoration, and there's David, and yeah, these are the fine folks that put these books together. And if you've seen my videos of Captain America and the Submariner, you know how beautiful these books look. Here is the credits. Some of the stuff was with Bill Everett, and here's other people that helped. Here we have the table of contents that tells you where each book takes place and what's collected here, including the post-war years. And this nice, beautiful, and long introduction by Roy Thomas. I swear, the man is a national treasure. He knows so much about the comic book history. It's wonderful. And here's Marvel Comics #1. Here's a comic book that you have probably seen around a lot, whether it was this or an homage of it. From Alex Ross, but this is the one that kicked it off, and the introduction of the android Human Torch, who's this character right here. So pretty much the story of the android Human Torch is that he was created by this scientist named Phineas Horton, and he possesses the ability to inflame himself and control these flames. Like I said, he was portrayed more like a science fiction monster at first, but then he became a hero, especially during these issues when he's fighting the Submariner. And eventually, I think he ends up joining the police department, and if I'm not mistaken, that's when he takes on the identity of Jim Hammond. Here he is when he's not burning up, like this, and he has nothing to do, or very little to do, rather, with the Human Torch from the Fantastic Four. You may have seen a little cameo of him when he was in the Captain America movie. That was just his costume, the red costume. But in earlier issues, he dons this blue costume. So I found that pretty interesting. Now, I got interested in the character because I was reading some Avengers. I would think it was Steve Englehart and then eventually John Byrne that tied in the Vision's origin to the original android Human Torch. I'm just showcasing some of this beautiful restored artwork with the colors. It's just wonderful. It looks like this was printed yesterday, and like I mentioned before, I can't imagine this looking better when it originally came out. Like, to me, it benefits from this glossy paper. At least the colors do. But anyway, yeah, I was reading, I think, whatever it was, I was like, what? There was a Human Torch that was an android? What the heck has that got to do with Johnny Storm? So this was when I was younger, when I was a kid. And then I found out about the Invaders. And through that, I was like, well, I got to look and see who this guy was. It's kind of interesting how they drew him, particularly here, compared to the way that we know that he looks later on. One of my favorite things they've done in this was this issue, I think it was Marvel Comics 8, where it's the same fight with the Submariner. However, you get it from the Human Torch's perspective. And then when you read the Submariner side, you get it from his perspective. What does the contents of this book have? Well, you saw Marvel Comics 1, but it also contains Marvel Mystery Comics 2 through 34 and number 83. Human Torch 2 through 7 and issue 28. All Winners Comics 1 through 4. Daring Mystery Comics number 7. Captain America 76 and Young Men 24 through 28. That's why this is a huge book. Now, it doesn't have every single page from those comics. It just has mainly the stuff by Carl Burgos. And in the introduction, I got to learn a few things about the man himself. Like, that's not the name he was born with, much like Stan Lee, right? Carl Burgos was born Max Finkelstein. And I didn't know this, but apparently he sued Marvel during the 60s, like the mid-60s, for using the Human Torch in the Fantastic Four. So I thought that was pretty interesting. And yeah, I think that's around the time when he stopped drawing comic books, was in the mid-60s. And it's probably why his name isn't as common as Simon and Jack Kirby or Bill Everett. And then you get to meet his sidekick, Toro, which I never understood why they called him Toro, but I guess within the pages here, I'll find out why. Who's the younger Human Torch. But yeah, this is Jim Hammond, and these are his early adventures. All the way from that Marvel Comics number 1, Toro, the Flaming Kid, which was originally published by Timely Comics. That's why these are the Timely's greatest. So believe it or not, that was before the time when Marvel wasn't Marvel, or even before Atlas Comics. He fought, yeah, here's the Invaders, where they fought against the Axis. So it's all collected in here. Now let's look at the back here for the extras. Okay, so now we have some covers. And this is really cool. These are pictures of Carl Burgos in 1982. So I want to say he passed away in the 80s with his family. So, man, that's really awesome. These are courtesy of Susan Burgos, his daughter. So that's really nice that I love finding things out like this, or finding things like this, like behind the scenes. I wish we could have had some of Steve Ditko, right? So I think there's only 3 known photos of Steve Ditko. Here is a pinup, and this is one of the promotional flyers from the newsstand. And I think these are these are the pages that were redrawn by Burgos. They were originally drawn by Dick Ayers. They wanted it to look the way that the Human Torch looks, so the way that Dick Ayers drew him was a little bit different. So then Burgos stepped in and revised the drawings. That's pretty cool. Now let's look at the binding. And there's that eye. And as you saw earlier, the book lays flat. Very nice. It's a beautiful reproduction of these stories. Now, I didn't have the Masterworks or any of those reprints, although I did remember having some reprints when I was younger. That's how I read some of these earlier stories, but I can't remember what the heck they were. They were in comic book size. But this is the Human Torch. By the way, one of the things they do, which very similar to Captain America and Submariner, are put Timely's Greatest, Golden Age Human Torch up here. So this gives me hope that they continue this stuff and start doing some other characters, some other unknown characters, like some collections in omnibus format. This is awesome, and I'm sure it is a painful task to restore this artwork to its original, if not better than the original look. And that was it. That was the contents of the book. Let me know in the comments down below if you're picking up these Golden Age books, or if you're passing up on them, or if you've never read them. I'd love to know if you've read them, or if you have the Masterworks, or if you're just going in blind. Again, this was the Uncanny Omar. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to hit that like, subscribe button, and remember, if it's classy and cool, it must be near mint.